Imagine waking up one day and your entire life is gone. Your bank account's drained, your credit ruined, your very name erased. This isn't fiction. This is the chilling reality I faced when a cunning imposter systematically dismantled my existence. But what happens when the thief's carefully constructed world crumbles, and their public downfall becomes your unexpected redemption? My name is Maya Nkosi, and this is the story of how I died twice and came back stronger each time. If you're ready for a story full of twists, betrayal, and ultimate justice, stay with me until the end. And please, like, comment, and subscribe. Your support means everything. 6 months ago, I had everything figured out. I was 32 years old, living in a beautiful apartment in Sandton, working as a senior graphic designer at one of Johannesburg's most prestigious advertising agencies. My portfolio had won awards. My salary was comfortable. My future looked bright. I had a routine. Wake up at 6. Morning run. Green smoothie. Check emails. Design, create, present. Evening yoga. Netflix. Sleep. Repeat. My life was predictable, safe, and exactly how I wanted it. I lived alone, which I loved. No drama. No complications. Just me, my art, and my carefully curated Instagram feed showing my perfect minimalist life. 12,000 followers. Sponsored posts. Brand partnerships. I wasn't famous, but I was doing well. Then came the first sign that something was wrong. It was a Tuesday morning. I was at my favorite coffee shop, the one where the barista knew my order by heart. Skinny cappuccino, extra shot, no sugar. When I handed over my credit card, the machine beeped. Declined. I laughed nervously. That's weird. Try again? The barista swiped it 3 more times. Declined. 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 Must be the machine, I said, my cheeks burning as the queue behind me grew longer. I pulled out another card. Same thing. Declined. The woman behind me sighed loudly. The barista looked uncomfortable. I grabbed my phone and transferred money from my banking app, my hands shaking with embarrassment. But when I opened my app, my stomach dropped. My account balance showed 0 rand. Not low. 0. My savings account that had over 180,000 rand just yesterday was completely empty. I stood there frozen, staring at my phone screen like it was written in a language I didn't understand. The barista cleared his throat. Ma'am? Are you okay? I need to go, I whispered, and I ran out of that coffee shop like the building was on fire. I called my bank immediately. The automated system put me on hold for 15 minutes. 15 minutes of panic music while my heart tried to punch its way out of my chest. When a consultant finally answered, her voice was professional and distant. Good morning, Miss Nkosi. How can I help you today? My accounts are empty. All of them. Someone stole my money. There was a pause. I heard typing. I'm looking at your account now, Miss Nkosi. I can see several large transfers were made yesterday evening. To various accounts. All authorized with your online banking credentials. I didn't authorize anything. My voice was too loud. People on the street were staring at me. The transfers were made using your password, your security questions, and verified through your registered email address and phone number. That's impossible. I didn't do any of that. More typing. Another pause. Miss Nkosi, I also see that your contact details were updated 3 days ago. Your email address and phone number were changed to new ones. My blood turned to ice. Changed to what? She read out an email address I'd never seen before and a phone number that wasn't mine. Someone is stealing my identity, I said slowly. Someone has access to everything. I'm going to flag your account immediately and start a fraud investigation. But Miss Nkosi, I need to inform you that this process can take up to 60 days. In the meantime, your accounts will be frozen. 60 days. 2 months without access to my own money. 2 months to figure out how to pay rent, buy food, survive. I hung up and stood on the sidewalk, shaking. Cars rushed past. People walked by with their coffees and their normal lives. And mine was falling apart. But that was just the beginning. If you think that was bad, wait until you hear what happened next. Stay with me. When I got to my office, I went straight to my desk and opened my laptop. My hands were still trembling. I needed to check everything. Email. Social media. Bank statements. Credit cards. Everything. My email was the first shock. I couldn't log in. Password incorrect. I tried 3 more times. Still wrong. I clicked forgot password and waited for the reset email. Nothing came. Because my email address had been changed, just like the bank consultant said. I tried my Instagram. Locked out. Facebook. Locked out. LinkedIn. Locked out. Someone had systematically taken over every single digital piece of my existence. My heart was pounding so hard I thought I might pass out. I stood up and walked to my manager's office. I knocked, and she looked up from her computer with a smile that immediately faded when she saw my face. Maya, what's wrong? You look terrible. Someone is stealing my identity. My bank accounts are empty. I can't access any of my accounts. I think I'm being hacked or something worse. She stood up immediately. Sit down. Tell me everything. I told her about the coffee shop, the bank, the locked accounts. She listened carefully, her face getting more serious with every sentence. You need to report this to the police immediately, she said. And you need to contact a lawyer. This is serious, Maya. Identity theft can destroy your entire life. I know, I whispered. It already is. She let me leave work early. I drove straight to the nearest police station. The inside smelled like old coffee and stress. I waited in line for 40 minutes before I could speak to someone. When I finally sat down across from a tired-looking officer, I explained everything again. He wrote slowly on a form, asking questions, taking details. When I finished, he looked at me with something like pity. Miss Nkosi, identity theft cases are very difficult to solve. The people who do this are usually very sophisticated. They cover their tracks well. We'll open a case, but I have to be honest with you. The chances of recovering your money are slim. So what do I do? My voice cracked. Document everything. Keep records. Change every password you can still access. Put fraud alerts on your credit profile. And hope we catch whoever did this. Hope. That was all I had left. I left the police station feeling hollow. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink, and I thought about how beautiful it looked and how wrong it felt to notice beauty when my life was being destroyed. When I got home, I sat on my couch and cried. Not gentle tears. Loud, ugly crying. The kind that makes your chest hurt and your face swell. I cried for an hour, maybe more, until I had no tears left. Then I wiped my face, made myself some rooibos tea, and started trying to take back control. I called every credit bureau. I filed fraud reports. I changed every password I could access. I documented everything in a spreadsheet. Times. Dates. Transactions. Evidence. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing through possibilities. Who would do this to me? How did they get access to everything? Was it someone I knew? A stranger? A professional criminal? And then, at 2 a.m, my phone buzzed. A notification. From Instagram. But I couldn't access Instagram anymore, remember? So how was I getting notifications? I grabbed my phone. The notification said, Maya Nkosi has posted a new photo. My hands went cold. I opened the app, and even though I couldn't log into my account, I could still view my profile as a visitor. And there it was. A new post. A photo I'd never taken. A caption I'd never written. The photo showed a woman sitting in a beautiful restaurant. Expensive wine. Fancy food. Designer handbag on the table. The woman's face was partially hidden by her hair and sunglasses, but she was wearing my watch. The one my grandmother gave me. The one I wore every single day. The caption read, "Living my best life. Sometimes you have to take what you deserve." I stared at that post for a full minute, not breathing. This wasn't just theft. This wasn't just some anonymous hacker stealing money. This was personal. This was someone who wanted to be me. Someone who was actively living as me, posting as me, pretending to be me. And that's when I realized something terrifying. Whoever stole my identity wasn't finished. They were just getting started. If you're wondering who this person was and how I figured it out, keep listening. Because the truth was more shocking than I ever could have imagined. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The next morning, I woke up with a splitting headache and a determination I hadn't felt in years. Someone was playing with my life like it was a game, and I was going to find out who. I made a list. Everyone who had access to my personal information. My bank details. My passwords. My home address. The list was shorter than I expected. My ex-boyfriend Tabo, but we'd broken up 2 years ago and he'd moved to Cape Town. My best friend Zanil, who I'd known since university. My younger sister Linda. My cleaning lady, Mrs. Dlamini. A few colleagues from work. None of them made sense. Why would any of them do this? I decided to start with my social media. Even though I couldn't log in, I could still see what was being posted from my account. Every few hours, there was something new. Photos at expensive restaurants. Shopping bags from luxury stores. Gym selfies. Coffee shop check-ins. All posted as me, but none of them were me. I screenshot everything. Documented every post, every location, every detail. Whoever this person was, they were living a very public life. Which meant they were getting careless. And careless people make mistakes. On the third day after my accounts were stolen, I was sitting at my desk at work when my manager called me into her office again. Her face was serious. "Maya, sit down. We need to talk." My stomach dropped. "What's wrong?" She turned her computer screen toward me. It showed an email. From my email address. Sent to my entire company, including the CEO and all the directors. The email said, "I quit. Effective immediately. This job is beneath me and I'm moving on to better opportunities. Don't bother contacting me." My mouth fell open. I didn't write that. I didn't send that. "I know you didn't," my manager said gently. "Because I know you. But the email came from your official work address. And according to IT, it was sent using your login credentials from your laptop." "My laptop is right here. I haven't sent anything." She nodded. "I believe you. But Maya, there's more. Someone also sent emails to 3 of our biggest clients, canceling projects and using very unprofessional language. They sent it as you. The clients are furious. The CEO is considering legal action." I felt like I was drowning. This person is destroying everything. My money, my reputation, my career. Everything. "I'm putting you on temporary leave," my manager said. "Not as punishment, but as protection. Until you sort this out, I can't have you working here. The company's reputation is at stake." I left that office in a daze. Temporary leave meant no salary. No salary meant I couldn't pay rent. Couldn't pay for anything. I was falling into a hole with no bottom. When I got home, there was an eviction notice taped to my door. 30 days to vacate. My landlord had received an email from me, apparently, saying I was breaking my lease and moving out immediately. Another email I never sent. I sat on my apartment floor and screamed. Just screamed until my throat hurt. This person wasn't just stealing my money. They were systematically destroying every aspect of my life. My job. My home. My identity. Everything. And then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Maya Nkosi? A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. Yes, who is this? This is Advocate Thembeka Radebe. I'm calling regarding the restraining order filed against you. My heart stopped. Restraining order? What are you talking about? You've been sending threatening messages to a Miss Precious Malangu. Harassing her on social media. Making threats against her safety. She's filed for a protection order, and the hearing is next week. I don't even know who that is. I haven't sent threatening messages to anyone. There was a pause. Miss Nkosi, we have screenshots of the messages sent from your social media accounts. Very explicit threats. If you violate this order, you'll be arrested. She hung up before I could say anything else. I sat there holding my phone, my mind spinning. Precious Malangu. The name meant nothing to me. I'd never heard it before in my life. But apparently, I'd been threatening her. Harassing her. Using my own accounts to commit crimes. This was more than identity theft now. This was identity assassination. Someone was using my face, my name, my accounts to destroy me completely. And I still had no idea who or why. But then I remembered something. That Instagram post. The woman in the photo wearing my watch. I grabbed my laptop and pulled up my Instagram profile again. I zoomed in on every photo that had been posted in the last 3 days. Looking for clues. Details. Anything. And then I saw it. In one photo, taken at a restaurant, there was a reflection in the wine glass. A face. Partially visible, but there. I screenshot it and zoomed in as far as I could. The resolution was terrible, but I could make out dark hair, light skin, sharp features. I stared at that blurry reflection for a long time. And slowly, very slowly, a memory surfaced. A face I'd seen before. Not someone close to me. Not a friend. But someone who'd been in my life peripherally. Someone who'd had access. My cleaning lady, Mrs. Dlamini, had a daughter. A young woman in her 20s who sometimes helped with the cleaning when Mrs. Dlamini was sick. I'd met her maybe 3 or 4 times over the past year. She'd been polite. Quiet. Unremarkable. What was her name? I tried to remember. Pretty name. Started with AP. Precious. Precious Malangu. My blood ran cold. It was her. It had to be. She'd been in my home. She'd had access to my laptop, my documents, my mail. She'd watched me type passwords. She'd seen everything. But why? Why would she do this? I grabbed my phone and called Mrs. Dlamini. She answered after 3 rings, her voice warm and familiar. Maya, my child, how are you? Mrs. Dlamini, I need to ask you about your daughter. Precious. There was a long pause. What about her? Where is she? I need to speak with her. Another pause, longer this time. Maya, what has she done? So she knew. Mrs. Dlamini knew her daughter was capable of something bad. She stole my identity, I said quietly. She's destroyed my life. Mrs. Dlamini started crying. Soft, heartbroken sobs. I was afraid of this. I'm so sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. Tell me where she is. I don't know. She moved out 3 months ago. She said she got a job, that she was doing well. She's been sending me money, expensive gifts. I thought she was finally getting her life together. But I knew something was wrong. I knew it was too good to be true. Do you have an address? A phone number? Anything? No. She said she wanted space. She only contacts me when she wants to. I closed my eyes. Mrs. Dlamini, your daughter is using my name to live a life she didn't earn. She's ruining me. I know, she whispered. And I will help you stop her. I promise. Stay with me because what happened next changed everything. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're invested in this story. Mrs. Dlamini came to my apartment that evening. She looked older than I remembered, her face lined with worry and shame. She sat on my couch and told me everything she knew about her daughter. Precious had always been difficult. Smart, beautiful, but obsessed with status and money. She'd grown up poor, watching other people live wealthy lives, and it had twisted something inside her. She wanted luxury. She wanted recognition. She wanted to be someone important. She used to say that life was unfair, Mrs. Dlamini said, her voice breaking. That people like you had everything handed to you while people like her had to struggle. I tried to teach her that hard work and honesty were the way, but she didn't listen. She thought she deserved more than she had. So she decided to steal my life, I said bitterly. Mrs. Dlamini nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. I failed as a mother. I failed to raise her right. This isn't your fault, I said, and I meant it. Your daughter made her own choices. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Mrs. Dlamini reached into her bag and pulled out a notebook. I found this in Precious's old room after she moved out. I think you need to see it. She handed me the notebook. I opened it slowly. Inside were pages and pages of notes. My daily routine, written in detail. What time I left for work. What time I came home. Where I went for coffee. Where I went to the gym. My passwords, written down in code. My bank account numbers. My ID number. My mother's maiden name. Everything. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't opportunistic. Precious had been planning this for months. Watching me. Studying me. Learning everything about me so she could become me. My hands shook as I turned the pages. There were photos too. Pictures of me she'd taken secretly. At the grocery store. At the gym. Walking to my car. Sitting in my apartment through my window. She was stalking me, I whispered. At the back of the notebook was something else. A list of goals. 1. Gain access to Maya's laptop and phone. 2. Collect all personal information. 3. Create duplicate email and social media accounts. 4. Transfer money from bank accounts. 5. Destroy Maya's reputation. 6. Take over her life completely. And next to each goal was a checkmark. She'd done it all. Every single step of her plan had worked perfectly. Except she'd left the notebook behind. One mistake. One piece of evidence. I'm taking this to the police, I said. Mrs. Dlamini nodded. Do what you need to do. I won't protect her anymore. She needs to face consequences. I went to the police station the next morning with the notebook. The same officer who'd taken my initial report looked through it carefully, his expression getting more serious with each page. This is premeditated identity theft, he said. This isn't some random scam. This is calculated, deliberate fraud. With this evidence, we can get a warrant. How long will that take? A few days. Maybe a week. But Miss Nkosi, even with a warrant, we need to find her. Do you have any idea where she might be? I thought about all the Instagram posts. The restaurants. The shopping centers. The gym. She was still in Johannesburg, living my life in plain sight. She's posting everything on social media, I said. Every place she goes, she tags the location. She's not hiding. The officer smiled for the first time. Then she's making our job very easy. Over the next week, I watched Precious's posts obsessively. Every photo. Every location. Every caption. She was getting bolder, more careless. Posting stories throughout the day. Showing her face more clearly now. She was enjoying this. She thought she'd won. She posted from a luxury hotel in Santon. From expensive boutiques in Rosebank. From exclusive restaurants in Parkhurst. She was living the life she'd always wanted, using my money, my name, my identity. And then she made her biggest mistake. She posted a photo at a beauty spa. One I recognized immediately because I'd been there before. The caption said, "Self-Care Sunday at Serenity Spa. Because I deserve the best." The post was live. She was there right now. I called the police officer immediately. I know where she is. She's at Serenity Spa in Hyde Park. Right now. We'll send officers immediately. Don't do anything yourself, Miss Nkosi. Let us handle this. But I couldn't just sit and wait. I grabbed my car keys and drove to the spa. It took me 20 minutes through traffic, my heart pounding the entire time. When I arrived, I parked across the street and watched the entrance. 10 minutes later, 2 police cars pulled up. 4 officers went inside. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel, barely breathing. And then they came out. The officers. Walking on either side of a woman. A woman wearing my watch. My sunglasses. Carrying my handbag. Precious Malongo. She was beautiful. Light skin, long dark hair, designer clothes. She looked confident, successful, important. She looked exactly like she wanted to look. Until she saw me. I'd gotten out of my car. I was standing on the sidewalk, watching her. Our eyes met. And in that moment, I saw everything. Shock. Recognition. Fear. And then, just for a second, something else. Defiance. Like she still thought she deserved this. Like she still thought I was the problem. The officers put her in the back of the police car. She didn't look away from me. Even as they drove away, she stared at me through the window, her face twisted with anger. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No relief. Just emptiness. But you won't believe what happened when they arrested her. The evidence they found changed everything. Keep listening. The police search of Precious's apartment was like opening a museum of my life. They found everything. My laptop, which she'd stolen from my apartment months ago. My mail, taken from my mailbox over time. My bank statements. My credit cards. My passport. Boxes and boxes of documents, all belonging to me. But that wasn't all they found. In her bedroom, they discovered something that made even the investigating officers uncomfortable. A wall covered with my photos. Pictures of me she'd printed and put up like wallpaper. Some were from my social media. Others were photos she'd taken secretly. And in the center was a large photo of me from my company website with my face scratched out and replaced with a photo of her face. She hadn't just stolen my identity. She'd been obsessed with replacing me. With erasing me. With literally taking my place in the world. The police also found other victims. Precious hadn't started with me. Over the past 3 years, she'd targeted 5 other women. All successful. All living alone. All with similar appearances to her. She'd worked for them in various capacities, cleaning, catering, personal assistant, and slowly, she'd stolen pieces of their identities. None of the previous thefts had been as comprehensive as mine. She'd learned from each one. Gotten better. More sophisticated. By the time she got to me, she'd perfected her system. The detective assigned to my case called me into the station 3 days after the arrest. "Miss Nkosi, I need to show you something," he said. "But I warn you, it's disturbing." He opened his laptop and showed me a video. Security footage from Precious's apartment, time-stamped and dated. The video showed Precious sitting at her desk, practicing my signature over and over. Hundreds of times. Getting it perfect. Then the video showed her reading my emails out loud, mimicking my voice, my speech patterns, my mannerisms. She was studying me like an actress preparing for a role. And the role was me. She's not mentally well, the detective said quietly. Our psychologist evaluated her. She has what's called identity envy. She becomes obsessed with women she perceives as having better lives than her, and she tries to literally become them. Is she going to jail? Absolutely. With the evidence we have, she's facing multiple charges. Identity theft. Fraud. Stalking. Harassment. She's looking at 15 to 20 years. I should have felt relieved. But instead, I felt sad. Sad that someone could be so broken inside that they'd rather steal someone else's life than build their own. What happens to me now? I asked. Now comes the hard part, the detective said. Rebuilding. He was right. Getting Precious arrested was only the beginning. Now I had to undo all the damage she'd caused. And that turned out to be almost impossible. The bank investigation took 3 months, not 60 days. 3 months of living with my parents because I couldn't afford rent. 3 months of borrowing money for basics like food and transport. 3 months of explaining to every company, every creditor, every institution that I was the real Mayan Kosi. Do you know how hard it is to prove you are yourself when someone has stolen your identity? It's like trying to prove you exist. Everyone looks at you with suspicion. They want documentation, evidence, verification. And even when you provide it, they still doubt you. My company eventually cleared me of the emails Precious had sent, but they didn't give me my job back. Too much drama, my former manager said apologetically. The CEO doesn't want the liability. So I was jobless. Broke. Living with my parents at 32 years old. Starting over from absolutely nothing. The legal process against Precious moved slowly. Court dates were postponed. Paperwork was delayed. The justice system was clogged with cases. While I was struggling to rebuild, Precious was out on bail, living with her mother, waiting for trial. And then something strange started happening. Precious began sending me messages. Not directly, she wasn't allowed to contact me because of the restraining order. But she created new social media accounts and sent messages through those. The first message said, "I'm sorry for what I did. I was sick. I need help." I deleted it. The second message said, "You don't understand what it's like to have nothing. To watch other people have everything. I just wanted a chance." I deleted it. The third message said, "You'll never understand me. People like you are born lucky. People like me have to fight for scraps." I stopped deleting them. I started screenshotting them. Evidence. But the messages got stranger. More unhinged. She started writing long essays about fairness and justice and how the world was designed to keep some people down while lifting others up. She talked about me like I was her enemy. Like I'd personally wronged her by existing. And then one message made my blood run cold, "If I can't have a good life, why should you?" I took that message straight to the police. They immediately revoked her bail. She was arrested again and held in custody until trial. The trial finally happened 6 months after her initial arrest. The courtroom was packed. Media covered it because identity theft cases were becoming more common, and this one was particularly dramatic. I sat in the gallery and watched Precious walk in. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. Her hair wasn't perfect anymore. Her clothes were plain. She looked like a normal person, not the glamorous imposter who'd been living my life. When she saw me, her face twisted with hatred. Pure, undiluted hatred. And I realized something in that moment. She didn't hate me because of anything I'd done. She hated me because I represented everything she wanted and couldn't have. The prosecution presented all the evidence. The notebook. The photos. The stolen items. The bank records. The testimony from the other victims. It was overwhelming. Damning. Precious's lawyer tried to argue mental illness, temporary insanity, childhood trauma. But the judge wasn't sympathetic. "Miss Malangu," the judge said, looking at Precious with cold eyes, "you didn't steal out of desperation. You stole out of entitlement. You believed you deserved someone else's life more than they did. That is not illness. That is arrogance." Precious was sentenced to 18 years in prison. No possibility of parole for at least 12 years. When the sentence was read, Precious started screaming. Not crying. Screaming. Shouting that it wasn't fair. That I had everything and she had nothing. That the system was rigged against people like her. Security had to remove her from the courtroom. Her screams echoed down the hallway even after she was gone. I sat there in silence. Everyone around me was talking, congratulating me, saying justice had been served. But I didn't feel victorious. I just felt tired. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because Precious's downfall wasn't just my justice. It became my redemption in a way I never saw coming. Stay with me. After the trial, I was exhausted. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. I'd spent a year fighting. Fighting to prove I was real. Fighting to get my life back. Fighting for justice. And now that it was over, I felt empty. I moved back into my own apartment, finally. The bank had returned most of my money, minus what Precious had already spent. About 40,000 rand was gone forever. The rest was back in my account. I should have felt grateful. But I just felt numb. I started therapy. My psychologist was a kind woman named Dr. Kumalo who specialized in trauma. In our first session, she asked me a simple question: who are you now? I didn't know how to answer. Because before Precious, I'd been Maya Nkosi, successful designer, Instagram influencer, independent woman. But that version of me felt like a stranger. A costume I'd been wearing. "I don't know who I am anymore," I admitted. "Then maybe this is your chance to figure it out," Dr. Kumalo said gently. "Not who you were. Not who someone tried to make you. But who you actually want to be." That conversation changed something in me. For the first time in a year, I felt something other than anger or fear. I felt curious. Who did I want to be? I started small. I deleted my Instagram account. The one with 12,000 followers. The one Precious had posted on. The one that represented a life that had been violated. I just deleted it. And it felt like taking off tight shoes after a long day. I stopped applying for design jobs. I'd been forcing myself to return to my old career because that's what I thought I should do. But the truth was, I didn't want to go back. That part of my life was over. Instead, I started volunteering. At a women's shelter. Helping women who'd been through trauma. Domestic violence. Abuse. Loss. Women who were rebuilding their lives from nothing. Just like me. And something unexpected happened. I found purpose. These women didn't care about my Instagram followers or my design awards. They cared that I showed up. That I listened. That I understood what it felt like to have your life shattered and to have to build it back piece by piece. I started a support group. For identity theft victims. Because through my case, I'd learned there were hundreds of people going through the same thing. People who felt invisible. People who couldn't prove they were themselves. People the system had failed. The group met every Tuesday evening in a community center. At first, it was just 5 of us. Then 10. Then 20. People came and told their stories. We shared resources. We helped each other navigate the legal system. We reminded each other that we were real, we existed, we mattered. And slowly, I started to heal. Not because Precious went to jail, but because I found meaning in the destruction she'd caused. One evening, about 8 months after the trial, a young woman came to the support group. She was maybe 25, quiet, nervous. She sat in the back and didn't speak for the entire session. After everyone left, she approached me. "I need to tell you something," she said. "My sister is in prison. For identity theft." My heart sank. "I'm sorry. That must be difficult." "Her name is Precious Malangu," the young woman said. I froze. Everything stopped. This was Precious's sister. Standing in front of me. In my support group. "I know who you are," she continued quickly. "I recognized you from the trial. I came here because I wanted to apologize. For my sister. For what she did to you. Our family is so ashamed." I didn't know what to say. I just stared at her. "My name is Faith," she said. "And I'm nothing like my sister. I work 2 jobs. I study at night. I'm trying to build a life the right way. But everywhere I go, people know my last name. They know what my sister did. And they treat me like I'm guilty too." Tears filled her eyes. "I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. And that not everyone in our family is like her." I took a deep breath. This wasn't Faith's fault. She was another victim of Precious's choices, in a different way. "Thank you for coming," I said gently. "And you're welcome here. This group is for anyone affected by identity theft. Including family members of perpetrators." Faith started crying. Not sad crying. Relief crying. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for not hating me." From that day, Faith became a regular member of the group. She shared her side of the story. The shame. The guilt by association. The difficulty of moving forward when your family name carries disgrace. And through Faith, I learned something important. Precious didn't just destroy my life. She destroyed her own family. Her mother, Mrs. Dlamini, had lost her job because no one trusted her anymore. Her younger siblings were bullied at school. Her father had to move to another province because of the stigma. Precious's crime had ripple effects far beyond me. It had damaged everyone connected to her. But here's the unexpected part. Through Faith, through the support group, through my volunteer work, I started to see the whole picture. Precious wasn't born evil. She was broken. The system had failed her long before she failed me. I'm not excusing what she did. Not at all. She made choices. Terrible, destructive choices. But I started to understand that hurt people. And cycles of pain continue until someone breaks them. So I decided to break the cycle. Like and subscribe if you want to hear how this story ends. Because the ending will surprise you. A year after the trial, I did something that shocked everyone who knew me. I wrote a letter to Precious in prison. Not an angry letter. Not a hateful letter. An honest letter. I wrote, "Precious, I will never forgive what you did. You stole a year of my life. You destroyed my career, my reputation, my sense of safety. You violated me in ways that can't be undone. But I'm writing to tell you that I've found peace. Not because of your punishment, but in spite of it. I built a new life. A better life. A life with meaning. And I hope, one day, you can do the same. I hope you can find a way to heal the broken parts of yourself that made you think stealing was the answer. I hope you can build something real instead of taking what belongs to others. I don't forgive you. But I release you. I refuse to let you occupy any more space in my life." I mailed the letter and didn't expect a response. But 3 weeks later, a letter came back. Precious's handwriting. I almost threw it away. But curiosity won. The letter said, "Maya, I don't expect you to believe me. But I think about what I did every single day. Not because I regret getting caught, but because I finally understand what I took from you. In therapy here, I'm learning that I spent my whole life believing I was owed something. That the world had cheated me. That people like you didn't deserve what you had. But the truth is, I cheated myself. I spent so much energy trying to be someone else that I never figured out who I was. I'm facing 18 years in here. 18 years to figure out who Precious Malangu actually is. Not who she pretends to be. Who she really is. I don't know if I'll ever find the answer. But I'm trying. Thank you for releasing me. I hope one day I can release myself. I read that letter 3 times. And something shifted. Not forgiveness. But understanding. We were both prisoners in different ways. She was in a physical prison. I'd been in an emotional one. And we both had to find our own way to freedom. 2 years after the trial, my life looked completely different. I wasn't a designer anymore. I'd started a non-profit organization called Identity Restored. We helped identity theft victims navigate the legal system, restore their credit, rebuild their lives. We offered free counseling, legal advice, and support groups. The organization grew faster than I ever expected. We got funding from companies, donations from individuals who'd been through similar experiences, grants from the government. Within a year, we had 5 full-time employees and helped over 300 people. I was interviewed by magazines, invited to speak at conferences, featured on news programs. But this time, the attention felt different. It wasn't about curating a perfect image. It was about sharing a real story. A story of pain and rebuilding and redemption. One day, I received an email from a journalist. She wanted to write a book about my story. About identity theft and its impact. About justice and healing. About how destruction can lead to transformation. I agreed. The book came out a year later. It became a bestseller. Not because my story was unique, but because it was universal. Everyone understood what it felt like to lose yourself. To have to rebuild. To find meaning in suffering. The success of the book led to a TED Talk. Then speaking engagements across the country. Then an invitation to consult with the government on identity theft legislation. My life had become bigger than I'd ever imagined. But this time, it was built on truth, not image. 3 years after the trial, I got a call from the prison. Precious wanted to see me. She'd requested a meeting through the proper channels. I had the right to refuse. Part of me wanted to. Part of me thought, what's the point? But another part, the part that had grown and healed and transformed, was curious. So I agreed. The prison was exactly as depressing as you'd imagine. Gray walls. Harsh lights. The smell of industrial cleaner and despair. I sat in the visitor's room and waited. And then Precious walked in. She looked different. Very different. Her hair was natural, pulled back simply. No makeup. Prison uniform. She looked tired but also, somehow, more peaceful. We sat across from each other. There was a long silence. "Thank you for coming," Precious finally said. "I didn't think you would." "I didn't think I would either," I admitted. Another silence. "I read about your organization," Precious said. "Identity Restored." "I read about the book. The TED Talk. Everything you're doing." She paused. "You turned what I did to you into something beautiful." "I didn't do it because of you," I said. "I did it in spite of you." She nodded. "I know. But still. I destroyed your life, and somehow you built something better from the ruins." "Why did you want to see me?" I asked. Precious took a deep breath. "Because I wanted to look you in the eyes and tell you the truth. Not the excuses I told myself. Not the justifications. The real truth." She looked down at her hands. "I hated you because you were everything I wanted to be. Successful. independent, confident. And instead of working to become that person myself, I tried to steal it from you. I thought if I took your life, I could become you. But all I did was destroy both of us. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back that year. I can't fix the damage. But I want you to know that I see it now. I see how broken I was. How twisted my thinking was. And I'm working every single day in here to fix myself. To become someone real. I watched her cry. And I felt something unexpected. Not forgiveness. But compassion. She was a human being who'd made terrible choices and was now living with the consequences. Just like we all do, in different ways. I hope you find yourself, precious, I said quietly. The real you. Not the person you thought you should be. Not the person you tried to steal from someone else. But the actual person inside. I hope you find her. Precious looked up at me with red eyes. I hope so too. I stood up. I won't be coming back. This is the last time we'll see each other. But I want you to know that I've let go of the anger. Not for you. For me. Because holding on to it was poisoning me. Thank you, she whispered. I walked out of that prison and into the bright afternoon sunshine. And for the first time since this entire nightmare began, I felt free. Completely, totally free. Precious had stolen my identity. But in doing so, she'd forced me to discover who I really was. Not the curated version on social media. Not the successful designer climbing the corporate ladder. But the real Maya Nkosi. The woman who could survive destruction and build something meaningful from it. Her downfall had been my unexpected redemption. Not because she went to prison. But because her crime had shattered the life I was living and forced me to build one that actually mattered. If you're still with me, thank you for listening to my story. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you've ever felt like you lost yourself, remember this: sometimes we have to be broken apart to discover what we're really made of. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to us becomes the doorway to the best version of ourselves. My name is Maya Nkosi. And this is how I died twice and came back stronger each time.